Hello, welcome to Chapter 18 for Business Math called Accounting. This is Lesson 18.11, Income Statement. So this is the very last section for Chapter 18. As always, make sure you're looking at the chapter, read through the material, look at the examples, pay attention and not just, what do I need to do to get through the problem, but why am I doing it? What is actually happening here? The more that you understand the what and the why, the more you're going to understand as we go through these problems and actually work through kind of more complicated issues here. So just, big reminder there, make sure you're looking at the textbook. All right, so in this case, we have an income statement or profit and loss statement shows in detail your income and operating expenses. If your gross profit is greater than your total operating expenses, your income statement will show a net income or profit. So it's kind of vice versa too. If your gross profit is less than your total operating expenses, then you're going to show a net loss. So kind of depends on which one you have there, but it'll show a profit or a loss. So gross profit equals net sales minus the cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, we started calculating on the last section there. Net income equals gross profit minus total operating expenses. So these are pieces that we're going to need to calculate or be given in order to figure out or solve these problems. So if we look at table number 1, we have total sales, returns, net sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, operating expenses, and then net income. So net income, I know I need gross profit, and I'm going to subtract total operating expenses, which is right here. So I know I need those two pieces. So it looks like to calculate net income, this last column, I'm going to need to calculate this gross profit column first. And then for gross profit, I need net sales, which is this column here, minus the cost of goods sold, which is this column here. So again, in order to do gross profit column, I'm going to first need to find net sales column. They don't tell you how to calculate the net sales on this worksheet. It has been explained in previous sections and in the textbook, those examples I was just talking about. My goodness. So to get your net sales, you simply want to take, kind of bring my board down here. You want to take your total sales, and we're going to subtract our returns from that. And that'll tell us our net sales. So pretty simple calculation there. Nothing too crazy. We're just going to subtract these two amounts. We're going to have $51,970 for this first one. So there are my total sales. And now I can use this gross profit calculation. So I know I'm going to subtract net sales and cost of goods sold. And look at that. They put it right in the right order for me. I'm just going to subtract straight across here. I'm going to get 31,182. And now I can do net income. So I can use this guy, and I'm going to do gross profit minus operating expenses. So again, they put it right there in order for me. So 28,564. So pretty straightforward on that table. You're just you're filling in this first one, and then once you get to that first one, you just keep subtracting to fill in the next one. All right, so completed income statement for each business in problems 4 and 5. So you're going to do the exact same thing for number 4. You just have to fill it in. And they told you what the total sales were here. And I'm not necessarily reading the problem, but I know they tell me the total sales. They tell me what was returned, so I can calculate net sales. They tell me what the cost. Let's see, do they tell us what the cost of goods are? They do. Yeah, so the auto parts that were sold cost Ashton Auto Parts this much money, so that's the cost of goods sold. So I can calculate gross profit. Operating expenses, again, they tell me what the operating expenses are here. So they give me all the same pieces, they just didn't fill it in for me. We have to fill in the table. So not too crazy on number 4. Number 5, they do give us a whole bunch of information here. So for the past quarter, Duncan Manufacturing Company had total sales of $212,090 and returns of $6,187. The cost of goods sold amounted to $94,860. Operating expenses for the quarter included salaries and wages of $55,400, real estate loan payment of $5,440, advertising of $5,000, utilities and supplies of $3,960, bank loan payment of $3,990, and other operating expenses of $4,660. So they give me a whole bunch of information there. Keep in mind that a lot of this is under the operating expenses. We're going to have to add a bunch of this together, okay? I'm sorry, I'm using my board sideways here, so it's writing these wiggly lines. Let's see. Whoop, still a little wiggly there. That's better. All right. So operating expenses. Everything listed after this was operating expenses. So we need to make sure that we understand when they're listed like this, we need to combine them into one total. And if we look, let me click on the last page here. I can't see it in the screen there. Okay. So we have this table here and we need to fill it out. So they told us the total sales on that other sheet. So that's where we're going to place total sales on that first column. Less sales returns. They told us how much was returned in that little paragraph. So it says less. That means subtract. You're going to subtract these two amounts, and that goes right here for net sales. Cost of goods sold. So that they actually gave us that straightforward in this paragraph as well, where we don't really have to do any calculations. We just need to put that number in here. Gross profit on sales. So the gross profit on the sales is just like we did on the other one. This is just kind of a tall worksheet. You subtract your net sales from your cost of goods sold, and that gives you your gross profit. So that was the same kind of calculation we did on the other one. It was one of the pieces there. So let's see, gross profit equals net sales minus cost of goods sold, right? So we just have to make sure, where'd my mouse go? There it is. So net sales minus cost of goods sold, and that'll give us our gross profit here. So far, hopefully pretty straightforward. We're just plugging some numbers in. Operating expenses. They want you to put all of those different operating expenses that they listed on these lines here. We have a bunch, miscellaneous. So there's a whole bunch of them they give us. And then they said total operating expenses. Well, I want to total these guys up. So, and that total is going to go right here on this line. And then the net income, we're going to subtract. So remember, net income is gross profit minus total operating expenses. So here's your total operating expenses. Here's your gross income. So you're going to subtract these two amounts. And that'll tell you what your net income is. So a little bit going on that one as far as being involved, but it's not terribly complicated. You're just filling the pieces in here. So just kind of slow down, read through it, make sure you fill out this table. I know I didn't do a whole lot of math on that one. I was more just kind of walking you through, reading the directions, but I hope it helped, and I will see you in chapter 19.